The sun was setting over the distant mountains of Proxima B, casting long shadows across the research outpost. Dr. Alan Miller looked up from his workstation and rubbed his tired eyes. 6 months they had been on this frontier planet, studying its strange life forms before any major human settlement could begin. The outpost was small but efficient. 5 main buildings connected by covered walkways, all surrounded by a basic perimeter fence. "Luna, come here, girl," Alan called, and the large dog trotted over from her spot by the door. Luna wasn't a normal dog. She was bigger than a German shepherd, with a sleek gray coat and unusually alert eyes. The scientists had enhanced her genetics, giving her greater intelligence and senses far beyond those of a regular canine. She pressed her nose against Alan's hand, and he scratched behind her ears. "Something bothering you today? You've been restless," he said, noticing how the dog kept looking toward the dense forest that started about 200 yards from the camp. The door to the lab slid open as Samantha Wright stepped in. She wore the standard blue uniform of the security team with her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. "How's our girl doing?" Samantha asked, looking at Luna. The dog immediately went to her, tail wagging. Samantha was Luna's main handler, the one who had trained her since she was a puppy. "She seems worried about something in the forest," Alan said. "Probably just the local wildlife." Samantha frowned. "She knows the local wildlife by now. If she's worried, we should pay attention." She knelt down beside Luna. "What is it, girl? What do you smell?" Luna whined softly and looked toward the forest again. "I'll take her on a patrol around the perimeter," Samantha decided. Better safe than sorry. As they headed out, Eric Bennett, the communications officer, rushed in. His usually cheerful face looked troubled. "We've got problems with the satellite link again," he said. "That's the 3rd time this week," Alan sighed. "Natural interference?" "I don't think so," Eric replied. "The pattern doesn't match anything we've seen before. It's like something is testing our systems, finding the weak spots." "Or someone," Samantha said quietly from the doorway. "I don't like this. First Luna acting strange, now communications problems." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Alan said. "Eric, run a full diagnostic. Samantha, do your patrol with Luna. I'll check in with the other buildings." Outside, Samantha walked the perimeter fence with Luna at her side. The dog's behavior was making her nervous. Luna had been trained to recognize hundreds of scents and sound patterns. If something was bothering her, it wasn't without reason. As they rounded the north corner of the fence, Luna suddenly stopped, hackles rising. She stared into the forest and let out a low growl. "What is it?" Samantha asked, hand moving to the stun pistol at her belt. Luna took a step forward, nose twitching as she sampled the air. Samantha activated her comm unit. "Alan, Luna's definitely picked up something near the north fence. I'm going to check it out." "Wait for backup," Alan replied through the comm. "Kevin and I will join you in 5 minutes." "Understood," Samantha said, though she kept her eyes fixed on the tree line. The forest was getting darker as the sun continued to set, and the shadows seemed to move between the trees. Luna's growl grew louder. When Alan and Kevin Rodriguez, the team's engineer, arrived, Samantha pointed toward the forest. "Luna's been staring at that spot for the past 5 minutes. She won't move." Kevin pulled out a scanner and aimed it toward the trees. "I'm not picking up anything unusual. No large heat signatures, no movement." "Luna doesn't make mistakes," Samantha insisted. "Not about things like this." Alan nodded slowly. "I trust her instincts too. Let's increase the night patrols and make sure all the security cameras are working." "I can boost the sensor range," Kevin offered. "Maybe catch whatever it is that Luna's sensing." They headed back to the main building, with Luna reluctantly following after a command from Samantha. The dog kept looking back over her shoulder. Later that night, after the team had eaten dinner in the common room, Dr. Olivia Patterson, the exolinguist, joined Alan at his table. "The local plant samples are showing strange patterns," she said, without introduction. Olivia was brilliant but often skipped social niceties. "The growth rate has increased by 20% in the last week." "That could be seasonal," Alan suggested. "No, I've checked against our previous data. Something is changing in the environment." She pushed her tablet toward him, showing graphs and charts. And there's something else. Listen to this. She tapped the screen, and a strange, low humming sound played. It was barely audible, more felt than heard. What is that? Alan asked. I don't know. Our microphones picked it up last night. It's been getting louder each night for the past 3 days. Alan frowned. And you're just telling me now? I wanted to be sure it wasn't instrument error, Olivia said defensively. A crash from the kitchen area interrupted them. They looked up to see Luna had knocked over a tray of cups and was standing rigid, staring at the wall. Samantha rushed to her side. Luna, what's wrong? The lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized. Eric burst into the room, face pale. We've lost communications completely. Something is jamming all frequencies. That's not possible, Kevin said, getting to his feet. Our systems have multiple redundancies. The lights went out entirely, plunging the room into darkness. Emergency. Lights came on seconds later, bathing everything in a dim red glow. Kevin, check the power systems, Alan ordered, his voice calm despite the situation. Eric, keep trying to get a signal out. Samantha, I want you and Luna on patrol. Now. As people rushed to their tasks, Luna stood by Samantha's side, teeth bared in a silent snarl. It's going to be okay, girl, Samantha whispered, checking her weapon. We've trained for this. Luna didn't look convinced. Her eyes were fixed on the windows, where the darkness outside seemed deeper than usual, as if the night itself was watching them. Samantha clipped Luna's special tactical vest onto her, the one with the small cameras and additional sensors. You're on guard duty tonight. We need your eyes and ears. Outside, as they began their patrol, Luna kept close to Samantha's side. The wind had picked up, carrying strange scents from the forest. In the distance, something moved between the trees, something that shouldn't be there. The human camp was quiet except for the low hum of the backup generators. Luna's ears twitched at every sound, her body tense and ready. Something was coming. She could sense it, and whatever it wasn't friendly. Samantha looked down at her companion. See anything, girl? Luna's only response was a low, warning growl. The night had just begun. Morning came to the research outpost with an uneasy quiet. The team gathered in the main building, faces tired from a night of heightened alert. Samantha had dark circles under her eyes from patrolling with Luna most of the night. The dog sat alert at her feet, still watching the windows. Nothing on the cameras, Kevin reported, scrolling through footage on his tablet. But that doesn't mean nothing was out there. Luna was tracking something, Samantha insisted. She never acts this way without reason. Alan nodded slowly. I believe you. The question is, what do we do now? We're still cut off from communication with Earth. I might have something, Eric said, walking in with a portable scanner. I picked up a signal just before dawn, not one of ours. It was moving. The room went quiet. Moving how? Alan asked. Like a ship. Small, based on the signature. It landed about 3 miles from here in the Western Valley. Luna's ears perked up and she made a soft noise in her throat. She knows, Samantha said, placing her hand on Luna's head. Whatever it is, she can sense it. Olivia, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. We should make contact. Everyone turned to look at her. Are you serious? Kevin asked. Something. Cuts our communications, prowls around our camp at night, and you want to invite them over for coffee? We're explorers and scientists, Olivia replied calmly. First contact protocols are clear. We attempt peaceful communication. First contact protocols also include security measures, Samantha countered. We don't know their intentions. Alan held up his hands. Both of you are right. We'll prepare for contact, but with caution. Samantha, I want security ready. Olivia, prepare your translation tools. Eric, see if you can get any of our communications back online. Kevin, make sure our defense systems are operational. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Samantha knelt beside Luna. What do you think, girl? Are our visitors friendly? Luna stared back with intelligent eyes, then turned to look out the window again, a low rumble in her chest. Yeah, That's what I thought too, Samantha whispered. By midday, everything was in place. Security cameras were repositioned, weapons were checked, and Olivia had set up her translation equipment in the main hall. Luna stayed close to Samantha, refusing to leave her side even to eat. The first sign of approach came when Luna suddenly stood up, ears forward, body rigid. "They're coming," Samantha announced, checking her stun pistol. Minutes later, the perimeter sensors activated. Alan moved to the main door, with Samantha and Luna flanking him. Kevin and Eric stood back, ready to seal the room if necessary. Through the reinforced windows, they saw them emerge from the tree line. 3 figures walking upright but not human. They were tall and thin, with gray-blue skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the sunlight. Their faces had eyes that were too large, set wide apart above narrow mouths. "Razik," Olivia breathed, staring at the approaching figures. They matched descriptions from old texts found on Beta Centauri. "Friendly?" Alan asked quietly. "Unknown," Olivia replied. The texts were incomplete. The 3 figures stopped at the perimeter fence. One raised a hand in what might have been a greeting. "I'm going out there," Alan decided. "Samantha, keep Luna inside for now. I don't want to risk startling them." "Not a chance," Samantha said firmly. "If you go, we go. Luna can read their intentions better than any of us." After a moment, Alan nodded. "Fine, but keep her close." The 3 humans stepped outside. Luna walked at Samantha's heel, her posture alert but controlled. The aliens watched them approach. The middle one, slightly taller than the others, stepped forward and made a series of clicking sounds, followed by what might have been words. Olivia held up her translation device, letting it record the sounds. After a moment, she spoke slowly. "We welcome you. We are peaceful researchers." The alien tilted its head, then responded with more clicks and sounds. It gestured to the outpost buildings, then to their own bodies. "I think they're asking about us, who we are," Olivia said. Alan stepped forward. "I am Alan Miller, lead researcher. We are humans from Earth, studying this planet." The translator converted his words into sounds that might be understandable to the aliens. The tallest alien listened, then made a gesture that could have been a nod. "They understand," Olivia said, excitement in her voice. "This is amazing." Throughout the exchange, Luna had not relaxed. Her eyes never left the aliens, and her body remained tense. When one of the aliens took a step toward them, Luna moved, slightly forward, positioning herself between the alien and Samantha. The alien noticed this and stopped. It made a different sound, lower and slower. "They're asking about Luna," Olivia translated. "They want to know what she is." "She's a canine, a dog," Alan explained. "An earth animal, enhanced for intelligence and sensory abilities. She helps protect our camp." The aliens conferred among themselves, making rapid clicking sounds. Then the leader spoke again, gesturing toward the camp. "They're requesting to see our facilities," Olivia said. "They say they are explorers too." Alan hesitated, then nodded. "We can show them the outer buildings, not the secure labs." As they turned to lead the aliens toward the camp, Samantha noticed Luna's behavior change. The dog's hackles were raised, slightly, and she was breathing faster. To anyone else, these might be subtle signs, but Samantha knew Luna better than anyone. "Something's wrong," she whispered to Alan. "Luna doesn't trust them." "Keep alert," Alan replied quietly. "But we need to establish peaceful contact if possible." The aliens were shown the common areas, the equipment storage, and the outer greenhouse. They seemed particularly interested in the technology, asking through Olivia's translator about power sources and communication systems. After an hour, the aliens indicated they needed to return to their ship, but wished to come back the next day for further exchanges. Alan agreed, and the visitors departed, walking back into the forest the way they had come. Once they were gone, the team gathered in the secure lab. "Well, that seemed to go well," Eric said, relief clear in his voice. "Too well," Samantha countered. "Did anyone notice how interested they were in our weak points?" Power, communications, security protocols? They're curious, like we would be, Olivia argued. Luna didn't like them, Samantha said firmly. Not once did she relax around them. Kevin, who had been quiet, spoke up. The communication blackout started right when they showed up. That's not a coincidence. Alan looked troubled. We need more information before we jump to conclusions. Olivia, analyze everything they said. Kevin, check if any of our systems were compromised during their visit. Samantha, I want security doubled tonight. As the meeting broke up, Samantha found Luna still staring out the window toward the forest where the aliens had disappeared. I trust you, girl, she said softly. If you say they're trouble, then they're trouble. In the distance, barely visible, among the trees a light flashed briefly. Luna growled low and deep. The visitors were still watching. In the darkness of the lab, Alan's voice cut through the panic. Everyone stay calm. Kevin, can you get emergency power back? Working on it, Kevin replied. The beam of his flashlight bobbed as he moved to the power control panel on the wall. We need to arm ourselves, Samantha said, her voice steady despite the situation. Daniel, help me get the weapons from the security locker. Luna stayed close to Samantha, her eyes reflecting the flashlight beams as they moved through the darkened room. The dog's senses were on high alert, ears turning to catch every sound from outside. Kevin managed to activate a backup generator, bringing dim lighting to the main building. It wasn't much, but it was enough to see by. Main power lines have been cut, he reported. This generator will only last about 4 hours. Samantha and Daniel returned with the outpost's limited weapons supply. 2 pulse rifles, 4 stun pistols, and a handful of flares. They distributed them among the team. What's the plan? Eric asked, his hand shaking slightly as he took a stun pistol. Alan looked around at the frightened faces of his team. We need to hold out until daylight. Then we make for the shuttle and get off this planet. They'll be expecting that, Daniel pointed out. We don't have a choice, Alan replied. We can't stay here. Olivia, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. We should try to communicate with them. Maybe there's been a misunderstanding. The time for talking is over, Lisa said firmly. Those things left us poisoned gifts and were collecting our DNA. Their intentions are clear. A loud thump against the outer wall made everyone jump. Luna spun toward the sound, a growl rumbling in her throat. They're testing the structure, Samantha said quietly. Looking for weak points. Alan nodded. We need to barricade ourselves in the central lab. It has the strongest walls and only one entrance. The team quickly gathered essential supplies: water, emergency rations, medical kits. As they hurried down the corridor toward the central lab, a crash came from the direction of the greenhouse. They've breached the outer wall, Kevin said. Luna suddenly stopped, ears perked forward. She turned to look at a side corridor that led to the communications room. What is it, girl? Samantha asked. Luna took a few steps down that corridor, then looked back at the humans. She wants us to follow her, Samantha said. There's no time, Daniel argued. We need to get to the central lab now. I trust Luna, Samantha insisted. She hasn't been wrong yet. After a moment's hesitation, Alan nodded. Samantha, you and Kevin go with Luna. See what she's found. The rest of us will continue to the central lab. Join us there as soon as you can. The team split up. Luna led Samantha and Kevin down the dark corridor toward the communications room. Inside, the equipment was dark and silent. What are we looking for? Kevin whispered. Luna moved to a maintenance panel in the floor and pawed at it. Help me open this, Samantha said, kneeling down. They pulled the panel away, revealing a small space with cables and circuit boards. It's just the network junction, Kevin said, confused. But Luna was insistent, pushing her nose into the space and sniffing. Samantha shone her light where Luna was indicating and saw something that didn't belong. A small alien device, similar to the one Luna had found earlier, attached to the main communication cable. They bugged our systems, Kevin said carefully, removing the device. This is how they've been blocking our signals. A loud bang echoed through the building, followed by the sound of breaking glass. They're inside, Samantha whispered, We need to move. As they hurried back toward the main corridor, a shadow moved across the wall ahead of them. Something tall and thin was coming around the corner. Samantha raised her pulse rifle, but before she could fire, Luna sprang forward with a snarl. She crashed into the alien, knocking it off balance. The creature made a high-pitched clicking sound as it stumbled back. "Run!" Samantha shouted to Kevin. "Get to the central lab." Kevin sprinted down the corridor while Samantha took aim at the alien. Luna stayed between Samantha and the creature, her teeth bared. The alien recovered its balance and reached for something at its side. Samantha fired. The pulse hit the alien, squarely in the chest, sending it flying backward. It lay still on the floor. "Good girl," Samantha said to Luna. "Now let's go." They ran through the darkened corridors, hearing more sounds of breaking glass and strange clicking calls from different parts of the building. The aliens were spreading through the outpost. When they reached the central lab, Kevin was already there, helping the others barricade the door with heavy equipment. "We got one," Samantha reported as they secured the door behind her. "But there are more inside the building." "How many do you think?" Alan asked. "Hard to tell, at least 6, maybe more." Luna paced the room restlessly, checking each corner and wall. The dogs seemed to know they were trapped. "Kevin," Alan said, "you said you removed their communication blocker. Can we send a distress signal?" Kevin shook his head. "The main array is still down, but—" He paused, thinking. "We might be able to rig a short-range signal from the emergency beacon in Daniel's shuttle, if we can reach it." "That's still the plan," Alan said. "At first light we make a run for the shuttle." "What about now?" Eric asked nervously. "Why wait?" "Because they can see better in the dark than we can," Samantha explained. "Daylight will give us a fighting chance." A soft thud came from above. "Them." Luna looked up at the ceiling, growling. "They're on the roof," Lisa whispered. For the next hour, the team listened to the sounds of the aliens moving through the outpost. Occasionally, there would be a scraping sound against the lab door or walls, as if they were testing the structure. Kevin set to work modifying their remaining communications equipment, trying to boost its range. Olivia helped him, handing him tools and components as needed. Lisa checked everyone for injuries, paying special attention to Luna, who had faced an alien directly. "She seems fine," Lisa said, gently examining the dog. "Not even a scratch. She's one tough girl." Samantha smiled, scratching Luna behind the ears. "The best training and genetics Earth has to offer, plus she's just naturally brave." A sudden crash made everyone jump. Part of the ceiling panel had given way, and a long gray-blue arm was reaching through the gap. Daniel fired his pulse rifle. Hitting the arm, there was a shriek and the limb withdrew. "They're breaking through," Eric shouted. "Everyone to the back wall," Alan ordered. "Kevin, what's the status on that signal?" "Almost there," Kevin said, frantically connecting wires. "Just need a few more minutes." The ceiling began to crack in multiple places. Luna positioned herself in front of the team, facing the ceiling, ready to attack anything that came through. "We're not going to make it to dawn," Samantha said grimly, raising her rifle. The first alien dropped through the ceiling, then another, and another. Luna launched herself at the nearest one, her enhanced muscles propelling her forward with incredible speed. She clamped her jaws around the alien's arm and pulled it down to the floor. Pulse rifles fired. Aliens screeched. The room filled with chaos and noise. In the midst of the battle, Luna fought like a demon, moving from one alien to another, distracting them, biting vulnerable areas, giving her human companions time to aim and fire. But the aliens kept coming. The battle raged in the central lab for what felt like hours. When it finally ended, the room was in ruins. 3 dead aliens lay on the floor, their blue-gray skin now pale and lifeless. But the victory had come at a terrible cost. Eric was gone, taken when a group of aliens broke through the side wall. Lisa had been badly injured trying to save him, and now lay on a makeshift bed in the corner, her breathing shallow as Daniel tried to treat her wounds. The remaining team members gathered, in the center of the room. Dawn was approaching. The first faint light could be seen through the shattered ceiling panels. "We can't stay here," Alan said. his voice hoarse from shouting during the fight. "They'll be back, and in greater numbers. The shuttle is our only hope," Samantha agreed. She looked down at Luna, who was tired but alert, standing guard near the broken door. "Luna got us through this night. Without her, none of us would have survived this long." Kevin approached from where he had been working on the communications equipment. His face was streaked with dirt and blood from a cut on his forehead. "I managed to get a signal out," he said. "Very brief. Just an emergency beacon. If anyone's listening, they'll know something's wrong here. But no one will arrive in time to help us," Alan concluded. Kevin shook his head. "The nearest outpost is 2 days away at best." They all looked at Lisa, who was barely conscious now. "She can't be moved," Daniel said quietly. "Not in her condition." Heavy silence fell over the group. "I'll stay with her," Olivia volunteered. "You three take Luna and make for the shuttle." "We're not leaving anyone behind," Alan protested. "You have to," Olivia insisted. "Someone needs to tell Earth what happened here, about the Razik, about what they do to other species. This is bigger than just us now." Lisa stirred, her eyes opening slightly. "She's right," she whispered. "Go. Take the research data. And Luna. She's the proof." Samantha knelt beside Luna, her mind working quickly. "Luna's collar has a data storage unit. We use it to record her patrols." She began removing small storage chips from their equipment and sliding them into a compartment in Luna's collar. "We can store everything here, all our research, and the evidence about the Razik." Alan watched her work, then nodded slowly. "A backup plan. If we don't make it, Luna might. She's faster than us," Kevin added. "More agile, better senses." "We're still getting to that shuttle together," Samantha said firmly, finishing with the data transfer. She looked at Olivia and Lisa. "All of us who can move." The first true rays of sunlight broke through the clouds outside. It was time. They gathered what weapons and supplies remained. Daniel rigged the door to jam after they left, giving Olivia and Lisa some protection. The plan was simple. Run for the shuttle as fast as possible, with Luna scouting ahead for dangers. "Ready?" Alan asked, looking at each of them in turn. They nodded grimly. Samantha knelt beside Luna one more time. "Listen carefully, girl. If something happens to us, if we get separated, you have to reach the shuttle. You remember the emergency launch sequence we practiced?" Luna's intelligent eyes focused on Samantha's face. She made a soft whining sound. "I know you understand," Samantha whispered, pressing her forehead briefly against Luna's. "You're the best girl. The very best." They left through a back exit that led toward the landing pad. The morning air was cool and misty, limiting visibility, but also providing some cover. Luna took the lead, moving silently through the mist. They had made it halfway to the shuttle when the attack came. Aliens dropped from the trees surrounding the path, their movements quick and precise. The humans fired their weapons, creating chaos in the mist. "Keep moving," Alan shouted. "Don't stop." Luna darted between the aliens, biting and drawing their attention away from the humans. Her training and enhanced abilities made her almost invisible in the confusion, striking and retreating before the aliens could catch her. The shuttle came into view through the mist. So close now, just 100 yards away. An alien appeared directly in front of Samantha. She fired her pulse rifle, but the power cell was drained. The alien reached for her with long, clawed fingers. Luna leaped, knocking the alien sideways, long enough for Samantha to run past. "Almost there," Kevin called out. But then Samantha felt a burning pain in her leg. She stumbled and fell. An alien had hit her with some kind of projectile weapon. Luna was at her side instantly, grabbing her sleeve and pulling. "Go," Samantha told the dog. "Get to the shuttle," Luna whined, refusing to leave. "That's an order," Samantha said firmly, using the command voice that Luna was trained to obey without question. "Go. Now." With visible reluctance, Luna released her sleeve and sprinted toward the shuttle. Samantha tried to stand but couldn't put weight on her injured leg. She saw Alan turn back to help her. "No," she shouted. "Get to the shuttle. Make sure Luna gets on board. Alan hesitated, then nodded, and continued running. Samantha pulled out her stun pistol, her last weapon, and prepared to hold off the approaching aliens as long as possible. From her position on the ground, she could see the shuttle. Kevin had reached it and was opening the main hatch. Luna was almost there. Alan was 20 yards behind, firing at pursuing aliens. Then she saw something else. A group of aliens circling around through the trees, preparing to cut them off from the shuttle. "Behind you!" she screamed. But her voice was lost. In the sounds of battle, Alan must have sensed the danger. He turned and saw the approaching threat. Without hesitation, he changed direction to intercept them, buying time for Kevin and Luna to reach the shuttle. Samantha watched in horror as Alan engaged the aliens, fighting bravely, but becoming quickly overwhelmed by their numbers. Kevin had reached the shuttle and was frantically working the controls. Luna had stopped at the shuttle door, looking back at the humans still fighting. Then Kevin fell, an alien projectile striking him in the back. He lay motionless on the shuttle ramp. Luna was now alone. "Go, Luna!" Samantha shouted with the last of her strength. "Emergency Protocol 7. Luna seemed torn, looking from Kevin to the distant figures of Samantha and Alan. Then her training took over. She leaped into the shuttle and disappeared inside. Moments later, the engines fired up. The aliens, realizing what was happening, swarmed toward the shuttle. But it was too late. The craft lifted off the ground, its automatic defense systems firing at any alien that approached too closely. Samantha smiled through her pain. Luna had made it. The data would reach Earth. The warning would be delivered. As the shuttle rose, higher, accelerating toward space, Samantha closed her eyes. She had done her duty. They all had. 3 weeks later, at Central Command on Earth, a group of officers watched the footage recovered from Luna's collar. They saw the first contact with the Razik, the discovery of their true nature, and the final, desperate battle at the research outpost. The dog sat quietly beside the main viewing screen, watching the images of her former companions with alert eyes. "No human survivors," one officer said grimly, "but thanks to this animal, we know exactly what we're facing." Another officer stepped forward and knelt beside Luna. "You're not just an animal," she said softly. "You're a hero." Luna looked at her, then back at the screen where Samantha's face was frozen in an image. "The first line of defense has fallen," the commanding officer announced. "But thanks to their sacrifice, the rest of humanity will be ready when the Razik come again." He looked at Luna with respect. "And we have our first veteran of this new war." Luna stood at attention, as she had been trained to do. The collar around her neck no longer just held data. It now bore a small medal, the first ever awarded to a non-human defender of Earth. They had attacked the human camp. The pet was on guard duty. No Razik survived to tell their people what they had found. A species that would not be easy prey, that would fight back, and that had allies even the hunters hadn't expected. Luna had made sure of that. The second day after the alien visit brought a new arrival to the research outpost. A supply shuttle landed on the small pad near the east fence, kicking up dust as its engines powered down. Daniel Foster, the team's pilot and supply runner, stepped out carrying a crate of equipment. "What did I miss?" he asked with a grin as Alan and Kevin met him at the landing pad. The smile faded from his face as they updated him on the events of the past 2 days. By the time they reached the main building, Daniel looked worried. "This lines up with some rumors I heard at the central hub," he said, lowering his voice as they entered the common room. 2 other research outposts went dark last month. Command thought it was equipment failure. Alan frowned. "You think there's a connection?" "I don't believe in coincidences," Daniel replied. "Not out here on the frontier." Luna trotted over to greet Daniel, who bent down to scratch her ears. "Hey there, good girl. Sounds like you've been keeping everyone safe." The dog licked his hand once, then moved back to her position by the window, watching the tree line. Samantha joined them, her face serious. "The aliens left us a gift before they departed yesterday, some kind of fruit. Olivia thought it was a peace offering." Where is it now? Daniel asked. With Lisa in the med lab. She wanted to analyze it before anyone tried eating it. As if on cue, Lisa Hammond, the medical officer, walked in with a tablet in her hand. Her normally kind face was set in hard lines. We need to talk, she said without preamble. Those gifts the Razik left? They're toxic to humans. Low level, but they would make us sick over time. Weaken our immune systems. A tense silence fell over the room. That could be a misunderstanding, Olivia suggested, though she sounded less convinced than before. Perhaps what's healthy for them is toxic to us. Perhaps, Lisa replied, but the toxin is specific to human biology. It wouldn't harm them at all. That seems like an unlikely coincidence, Alan said slowly. Samantha crossed her arms. Luna knew. She wouldn't go near those fruits when the aliens presented them. Kevin, who had been quiet, spoke up. I found something too. When I was checking our systems after their visit, I discovered a new program running in our communication array. It's not just blocking our signals, it's sending out a beacon. A beacon to whom? Daniel asked. I don't know, Kevin admitted, but it's not using any human communication protocols. The implications hung heavy in the air. Eric nervously cleared his throat. So they're, what? Preparing us for something? I think I know what, Olivia said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. I've been translating some of the terms they used yesterday. There was one word they kept using when referring to humans. Karesh. I thought it meant friend or ally, but I checked it against some old linguistic databases. In 3 different extinct alien languages, similar words meant food or prey. Luna suddenly stood up, hackles raised, and growled at the window. What is it, girl? Samantha asked, moving to her side. Outside, the 3 Razik were approaching the gate again, but this time they weren't alone. 6 more aliens walked behind them, carrying what looked like containers. They're early, Alan said. They weren't supposed to return until evening. I don't like this, Samantha said, her hand moving to her weapon. We need to be careful. Alan nodded. Everyone stay alert. Samantha, keep Luna with you. Daniel, you and Kevin position yourselves near the exits. Lisa and Eric, stay back. The team moved into position as Alan and Olivia went to greet the visitors at the gate. Through the window, Samantha watched as more containers were presented. The aliens seemed insistent that their gifts be accepted. They're pushing harder today, she muttered to Daniel. More aggressive. Luna's growl had not stopped. If anything, it had deepened. When Alan and Olivia returned, they were carrying several small containers with strange symbols carved into them. They insisted we take these, Alan explained, setting them on a table. Said they are medical supplies, to help humans adapt to this planet's environment. Don't open those, Lisa said firmly. Not until I can analyze them. Agreed, Alan said. They also want access to our research data. Say they can help us understand the planet better. That's not happening, Kevin said flatly. As night approached, the aliens finally left, but the mood in the camp remained tense. The team ate dinner in relative silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Later that evening, after most of the team had retired to their quarters, Samantha took Luna out for her usual patrol. The night was unusually quiet. No sounds from the local wildlife that normally filled the darkness with their calls. Luna stopped suddenly at the north fence, the same spot where she had first shown concern days ago. She sniffed the air, then looked up at Samantha with what could only be described as urgency in her eyes. What is it, girl? Samantha whispered. Luna pressed against the fence, trying to push through toward the forest. Samantha hesitated, then made a decision. She unlocked the gate and opened it just enough for Luna to slip through. Go check it out, she said quietly. But come right back. Luna disappeared into the darkness. Samantha waited by the gate, hand on her weapon, counting the minutes. 5 minutes passed, then 10. She was about to call for backup when Luna emerged from the trees, something in her mouth. What did you find? Samantha asked as Luna trotted back through the gate. She knelt down and took the object from Luna's mouth. It was a small device, alien in design, with a pulsing light at its center. Samantha turned it over in her hands, then quickly placed it in a sample bag from her belt. "Good girl," she said, patting Luna. "Let's show this to Kevin right away." In the lab, Kevin examined the device while Alan, Daniel, and Lisa looked on. Samantha stood near the door with Luna at her side. "It's some kind of organic technology," Kevin said after several minutes. "The outer shell is grown, not manufactured, and it contains—" He paused, his face paling. "It contains DNA. From multiple species." "What does that mean?" Alan asked. Kevin looked up, his expression grim. "It means they're collectors. These DNA samples, they're from sentient species. I recognize some of the markers from our database. Species that disappeared or declined mysteriously after making contact with other civilizations." A heavy silence fell over the room. "They're hunters," Samantha said quietly, "and we're the prey." Luna growled as if in agreement. "We need to evacuate," Alan decided. "Daniel, how soon can you have the shuttle ready?" "First light," Daniel replied. "About 6 hours from now." "That's too long," Kevin said, pointing to the device. "This thing has been sending signals since we brought it in. They know we have it." As if on cue, the lights flickered and went out completely. The emergency backup failed to engage. In the sudden darkness, Luna's growl was the only sound. The hunters were coming.